What it is, done. It's your boy Crook LDBT 100. We in sure. And today we got another reaction video. First and foremost, I want to thank you guys that's been showing me love, liking the video, commenting the video. I greatly appreciate all you guys, man. But in today's video, we have NBA players explain how crazy good MVP Derrick Rose was. Listen, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, bro. We will miss Derrick Rose when he's gone, bro. We are gonna miss it. He is going crazy in New York right now. He going crazy. If you looked at it, and this is something that I looked at too, which is crazy. If you really looked at it, everywhere Tom Thibodeau went, as far as the team was concerned, Derrick Rose was right there. Right there with him. The only exception is when he went to Detroit, which he should have never been there. But when Thibodeau was with Chicago, of course, Derrick Rose was the MVP. You feel what I'm saying? Was the MVP. When Tom Thibodeau went to Minnesota, Derrick Rose came to Minnesota. Then I think he went to Detroit, right? Excuse me. And then when Detroit came, he went to, of course, the New York Knicks. We got to give Derrick Rose his flowers, bro. And I mean that. We need to start giving him his flowers, man. This man gave his heart, his soul to the game. And even though he done had horrendous injuries and he's not the same as he once was in 2011, you feel what I'm saying? We got to get this man his flowers, bro. This man has never cheated us of a show. You know, every time he steps on that court, you know he's going to give 110%. He's going to ball out. And I ain't going to lie right now. The Knicks could steal a series. I don't care what y'all say. Y'all probably can curse me if you want. The Knicks have a chance of stealing a series. They have a chance, bro. They have a chance. Mark my words. They probably, I ain't going to go crazy and say they're going to go all the way. But if you just look at the seeding in the East and look at different scenarios that they could do, bro, they can steal a series. I think right now under them is Atlanta because I think they're number 4. And 4 and 5 play each other, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, is 1 and 8, 2 and 7, 3 and 6, 4 and 5. If the playoffs started today, they will go against Atlanta. They could get that series. Come on now. They could get that series. Realistically, they've been balling. So, enough of me talk. I know I probably talked. You feel me? Let's get to the video.
Throughout NBA history, there have been dozens of what-if players who've tempted the basketball world with all-time great potential only to fall short of where we feel they should have ended up in their careers. From young guns who've joined the league with massive expectations and not lived up to the hype, to players who've shown flashes of brilliance but never consistently enough to be considered elite in the way they should have been. From players whose careers never got off the ground, such as Greg Oden, to players who could only be a shadow of the potential they showed, such as Grant Hill and Brandon Roy.
That's a fact. I was alive, but I was alive.
The league is littered with players who.
But I remember Brandon Roy was a dog, bro. Brandon Roy was a killer, bro. Bad neat, yo. Injuries, man. Injuries could really derail your career, man.
Could have been surefire Hall of Famers. Some of them managed to carve out a career in the league despite injury issues. Sean Kemp, Sean Livingston, and Larry Bird come to mind. But for the most part, serious injuries derail what looked sure to be spectacular, once-in-a-generation careers. Perhaps the biggest what-if the league has ever seen, though, is the youngest ever MVP, Chicago native and Bulls legend, Derrick Rose. There's a lot of talk about the fact Rose only won the MVP award because voters were tired of watching LeBron dominate so comprehensively in previous years. The truth, though, is that Derrick Rose was the driving force behind a Chicago Bulls team that were looking like perennial title contenders until Rose's knee went and took the franchise's aspirations of returning to the heady heights of the Jordan days with it. While fans, journalists, pundits, and others outside the league debated just how deserving Rose was of the MVP award in the 2010-2011 season, the players have no doubt that Rose was the real deal and could have been one of the greatest ever to play the game had his knees been a little more cooperative.
That's a fact.
To give you an idea of just how good he really was, we're going to take a look at what some of the superstars of the game have said about the explosive guard from Chicago.
It's my pleasure to award to you the Kia NBA 2010-11 MVP trophy.
Jamal Crawford, one of the veterans of the NBA and a fan favorite, was quick to make it clear how good he thinks Derrick Rose was in that MVP season. When asked his opinion on the matter, Crawford said,
"Well, I'm the biggest Derrick Rose fan. I've always been the biggest Derrick Rose fan. I've always said that I would take him that MVP year against any point guard, since or whatever. I just think he was that special."
High praise indeed from a player who's played against some of the greatest point guards the league has seen. Crawford was drafted in 2000. Some of the point guards to play in the league since then include Steve Nash and Jason Kidd, both of whom were in their primes, Chris Paul, Steph Curry, and Russell Westbrook. For Crawford to name Rose ahead of all those players so emphatically is an indication of just how ridiculous the Chicago native was in winning the MVP that year. Another fan favorite and veteran of the league at the time Rose had his MVP year was Richard R.I.P. Hamilton, an NBA champion with the Detroit Pistons in 2004 and a three-time All-Star. Hamilton joined the Chicago Bulls ahead of the 2011-2012 season. In a video with fellow NBA players Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, Hamilton said,
"I played with a lot of great players. Derrick Rose during that time was probably the most talented player I ever played with.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
at 23 too. Think about that. Just starting.
At 23, man, yo, this dude was ridiculous.
Considering the caliber of the players in the league when R.I.P. Hamilton was playing, that is a huge testament to just how special Derrick Rose was before injuries derailed what could have been one of the greatest careers the NBA had ever seen. When pressed on how good he thought Derrick Rose could have been if his career had been allowed to continue uninhibited by injury, Hamilton said,
"In my opinion, Derrick Rose is definitely top 10, easily. You know, could be top 5.
When you consider some of the greats to play point guard such as Magic Johnson, John Stockton, Isaiah Thomas, Gary Payton, Steph Curry, and Jason Kidd, it's clear that Rose was considered a generational talent by his peers. What people tend to forget when discussing pre-injury Rose is that he was only 22 years old when he won his first MVP. He was and still is the youngest MVP ever. An argument could be made that, given his early rise to the top of the league, Rose may have had a more successful career than any who came before him. Nothing is guaranteed in sport. Derrick Rose learned that the hard way. But it isn't a wild statement to say he could have been one of the top 10 players of all time based off how early in his career he became the best player in the league. I believe that. If we look at the praise other players had heaped on him at the time, and since, it isn't much of a leap at all to say Rose is the biggest what-if the league has ever seen. Another NBA champion and elite-level point guard who is certain they have never played anyone of Rose's quality is Celtics legend and current member of the Atlanta Hawks, Rajon Rondo. When Rondo appeared,
and this video is kind of old, by the way,
he was
because
asked if
Rondo
he's ever
is
faced
with the
anybody
Clippers.
who compared to
So this video
2011
kind of
Rose. Rondo responded by saying, "No, man, nobody."
His rookie year, go against that nigga 7 games. Problem.
Straight up.
Can you compare a primetime D Rose to anyone you've ever either played against or seen? Can you compare him to anybody?
Nah, man. Anybody.
See, I was about to say you can't.
Anybody fucking him like in the 7-game series when he was healthy. Boy, he putting your ass in trouble. You on your heels the whole game.
Rondo is a two-time NBA All-Defensive First-Team member, so for him to say Rose is the most unguardable player he's ever played is about as high as praise comes for the former Bulls star. Another elite defending guard and Chicago native who believes Rose is the most unstoppable player he's ever seen is Jimmy Buckets Butler. Butler was on the Bulls squad for the prime D-Rose years after being drafted by them in 2011 after Rose won MVP. Butler said in the Players Tribune,
"And when I would see him do stuff in practice, I thought, man, that's absolutely incredible. And then he go and do it 2 times that in the game. I was like, man, this guy is for real."
Jimmy might be a little biased, being a Chicago native and teammate of Rose. However, given his reputation for calling out teammates for underperforming, regardless of how talented they are, we think it's a safe bet to assume that when Jimmy says D-Rose is the best he's seen, that D-Rose really is the best he's seen. There's another Chicago native who plays shooting guard and happens to be a big fan of D-Rose. Dwayne Wade, a surefire Hall of Famer with 3 championships and a Finals MVP to his name, along with numerous other accolades, was quoted as saying, "If you're not a fan of Derrick Rose, if you don't root for him, something is really wrong with you." Crucially, this quote touches on an aspect of how good Derrick Rose is that has received less attention than his on-court ability. Across the board, NBA stars who've chimed in on Derrick Rose and his ability as a player have been quick to follow it up with comments on how good of a person he is. In all the interviews we could pull up of people commenting on D-Rose, Everyone who knew him had nothing but good things to say about him. Nothing captures just how loved the league's youngest MVP is more than players reacting to his career-high 50-point night while playing for the Minnesota Timberwolves. LeBron James, the man considered Rose's biggest rival in the East as he reached the height of his powers, said of the 50-point performance, "So extremely happy and proud of you, bro." LeBron James had clearly been rooting for Rose to make a return to regular basketball behind the scenes for a while, and he isn't alone. Steph Curry, another MVP point guard and Hall of Fame lock, said of Rose's 50-point game, "This is so dope, man. Can't imagine the down days, weeks, months, and years he went through. 50 ball. So much respect, bro." A fitting tribute to the hard work and determination that went into getting back on the court after multiple injury layoffs for Rose. The 50-point game was also an opportunity for some of the newer players in the league to see a one-night return of the player that tore up the league almost a decade ago. CJ McCollum, a member of the Portland Trail Blazers and one of the better guards in the league, was drafted in 2013 after Rose's first serious injury, and so he never got to witness prime Rose firsthand. The Blazers guard and winner of the 2016 Most Improved Player Award took to Twitter to voice his thoughts on the game, tweeting, "Man, couldn't be more happy for D-Rose." Other youngsters in the league, including Kyle Kuzma and Miles Bridges, also shared their thoughts on the performance. There were many big names who reacted to Rose putting up 50, but perhaps none bigger than the late great Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, a 5-time champion with the Lakers and a man widely regarded as one of the 2 greatest players ever to lace up basketball shoes, took to Twitter and said, "It's about damn time the real D-Rose stood up. Love seeing you back, my brother." What we like about this tweet, aside from the feel-good factor of the 50-point game, is that Kobe highlighted the fact that this is the kind of ball Derrick Rose was capable of in his prime. The fact that Kobe knows D-Rose was capable of such feats on a regular basis speaks volumes, as Kobe isn't quick to heap praise on those who don't deserve it. Had several knee injuries not curtailed his career, he could well have had many more nights like the one he had for the Minnesota Timberwolves. That 50-point night was special, a fitting reminder of just how good Rose was. It may well be the last glimpse of vintage Derrick Rose the league ever sees.
We weren't sure if it was the throwback jersey you were wearing, but you did look like Derrick Rose of old. And what did it feel like going through from beginning to end?
I'm doing anything just to win, man. I play my heart out. My teammates told me before the game, just play my game. And tonight was a hell of a night.
There you have it. A look into just how good Derrick Rose was in the eyes of some of the past and present stars of the game. As far as we're concerned, there's no greater what-if story than that of D-Rose. He looked destined for greatness and could have ended up bagging a place on one or two people's Mount Rushmore of NBA greats had his career been allowed to follow the trajectory it was on before injury struck. He truly was a generational talent. And it is undoubtedly one of the saddest stories of the league in recent years that a player so loved and respected with such a dedication to the game never got the chance to truly showcase his abilities. While it may be the last we see of prime Derrick Rose, we still get to watch the man who started out as just a kid from Chicago play his trade in the league as a member of the Detroit Pistons. That in itself is a win given everything he's gone through. And don't worry about preserving his legacy.
I forgot he
Those
was
who
with
know
Cleveland at
and were
one
there to
point
see
in
the
time.
downright ridiculous things D-Rose did on the
That's
basketball court,
crazy.
we'll do our part to make sure that this Rose never dies. Like this video if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
That's crazy, bro. But yo, listen, man. Listen, guys. It's starting to become a point where, listen, this is a young man's game. Now, I mean, Trae Young is coming. Luka Doncic is coming. LaMelo Ball is coming. Zion coming. Anthony Edwards coming. A lot of these new NBA like rookies and like sophomores and all of that, bro, it's their league. So eventually we gonna have to start giving out some flowers, man. Listen, one of the people that I want to give my flowers to is Derrick Rose, man. That's who the main person who I want to give the flowers to, because he done gave the game so much. I done watched Derrick Rose come up ever since he got drafted, you feel what I'm saying, out of Memphis. And yo, I appreciate Derrick Rose. You feel what I'm saying? I definitely appreciate him. I know Chicago appreciate him. And I want him to get a ring. I don't know if it's possible depending on where he goes. Now, if you telling me that the Knicks could get somebody like a KD type of stature in the next few years, maybe. But it's just good to see him out there playing, man. But I want to thank you guys for watching, for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn that bell green. Like the video. I love you guys, and I'm out.